This is actually interesting. So just reading the statute law, that all the justices have to take a new oath when Queen Elizabeth died and King Charles III took the throne. But here it says, on this North Yorkshire Police website here, they're saying, oh look, history has been marked at North Yorkshire Police as its first cohort of trainee officers swore the oath to King Charles III. The 33 new police officers pictured with their trainees. Lisa Winwood, the new must take the oath as it's set within the legislation to serve the monarch in the office of constable and as attestation formally. Ceremony it takes in front of a magistrate. So actually, all of the police officers who are already serving don't have to retake the oath again. The attestation, quite interestingly, only the justices have to retake it. I don't know why North Yorkshire Police are standing there so proud. They've taken an oath to uphold the law. Yet, when I got prosecuted and I was using statute law of the Bill of Rights, 1688 Bill of Rights, which I can use, and I gave evidence of that, they didn't even acknowledge it. So they're not upholding the law. The thing is, they're not upholding the law. So what's the point taking the oath? You know, it's just pointless. If you're not going to uphold the law, why take the oath? Also, the statute law actually says that any prosecutions which is contrary to statute law and against the Great Charters is void, right? Which has no effect. So, you know, they like to do all these, you know, fancy exhibitions and parades and ceremonies, but what's the point if you stood there saying it and you're not actually doing it? Or if you're not intelligent enough to understand the law, if you don't have the capacity to understand the law, what's the point? What is the point? There is no point. So, I mean, my question, I was wondering whether my oath is still in effect or not from my Cub Scouts, because it's actually under the Privy Council. It's actually, there's a charter for it. It's got its own charter and its own jurisdiction, which is a world jurisdiction, not like just a local county or a local area. It's actually for the whole country and the whole world. I don't know whether or not they might say that it only lasts while you're a kid, or the ironic thing is that you can't be prosecuted if you're under 10 years old anyway. So in a way, you've kind of got immunity as a little kid, which is quite funny. Well, it's not funny, but it's actually fact. It kind of goes with it, doesn't it? It's kind of funny that it is amusing in a way that you, until you reach the age of a certain age, you can't actually be prosecuted, which is almost kind of like having a little immunity in a way, which kind of is funny if you think about it under that charter, because it has got its own jurisdiction anyway. But you never really get discharged. You never get discharged, really. And the whole idea and the point in Scouts is to serve and go out into the world and scout. I think that's the whole model and point behind Star Trek, why they got Patrick Stewart on there, because he looks like Baden-Powell. It's meant to make a point out of exploration of, you know, the planet, the universe, or whatever. If that oath is not valid anymore, at least to Queen Elizabeth, at least the God serving, I think, like the God part is relevant and still in effect. So maybe in one way you might be released from serving a monarch if they've passed away, and you might actually be able to serve God. I might put this question to Pope Francis, actually. It's a good question. But if the police officers don't have to retake their oath again, then I don't see why any other similar oath needs to be retaken. I didn't know about that charter, but it is actually under the Privy Council, ironically, which is like Archbishop and Chief Justice. But ironically, their oath is that the most stupidest oath that I've ever read in my entire life is the Privy Council oath. It's got to be the ultimate evil. You know, ironically, and the most laughable part of it is that anyone can make a grievance or complaint against the king, which means that it seems ridiculous that we're allowed to understand. We can. How is it that worker bees can understand, the king or queen doing something wrong, but the Privy Council can't? Which seems like it's just laughable. The whole concept of it is ridiculous. It is kind of ridiculous in a way. Look, the odd thing at the moment, what I've discovered from where I am at the moment with my history study of everything to do with what's happened in this country over the various throughout history, is that, so I guess when Vobes talks about it on his programme, he doesn't really paint the picture exactly as you should. I think that it is, which is that, so all these different charters for different corporations have got a mayor and sheriffs and chief justices, etc. And as they've been progressing over the history, they've been making money and getting wealth and bringing it in kind of like from the countryside into the cities, gaining the wealth. And also, in a way, that they've been kind of like gesturing, to collect all the monies and treasures in. And supposedly it was supposed to benefit those cities and, serve their ruler and bring prosperity and what they call liberty. But it's actually not ended up with liberty. You've actually ended up in the cities. They claim that was the liberty, the retreat, the peace, but it's not. You've actually ended up fining and penalising everyone in the city for literally everything. Stopping, parking, moving around, whatever you name it, they're charging money for it. So, and now in Scotland, this maniac in the SNP, you can't say what you want in your own house. There is no liberty. They claimed that they were going to make everyone prosperous, and what it actually did was make the corporations prosperous and those in charge. And then what happened is the ruler has actually bought up everyone else's independent private corporations. So not only do they have the corporations of the cities, Charles has ended up, through this BlackRock Vanguard, we believe, he is likely to be somewhere behind it, actually owning everything. And what's happened now, instead of these big charters of the cities with the justices of the peace, what they've got is they've got these big entities like Facebook, YouTube, and they've got these muppets like Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and Bill Gates in charge of these big. They're basically charters. They're corporations, entities, and what they've done is they've given them jurisdiction. So instead of like the justices of the peace and the police being in charge, now they've got like Mark Zuckerberg and Sir Nick Clegg kind of like distributing justice through the platforms. But a lot of it's illegal justice, though. You can't really hit or hurt someone over the internet. And for meetings and transacting information, they've made it so people are really blocking people from doing things. I mean, how safer can you get? Talk about liberty of the city, right? Like, someone's in Australia, I'm in England, right? I can't type a few keys on the screen, apparently, keep them safe. When you're in a meeting just talking about, maybe opposing a council or getting some legal help or in a group meeting, it's actually insanity. It's not freedom or liberty or law at all. And none of these people at these Facebook or YouTube have taken an oath to promise to give people their rights or uphold the law or anything like that. And Clegg is really... Nick Clegg really has taken the biscuit for being a liberal, leader of the Liberal Democrats, the liberty of Facebook. This man has sworn an oath to see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, under this weird dark circle that Tony Blair's a member of as well, between the cement and the concrete of the governments of the world, reforming how India and Pakistan and Africa and all these countries model their government so they can implement control of Black Vanguard and from behind the scenes, all this like CIA stuff that's coming out now, setting people up through little mouse mazes to get them to do what they want, give them some cheese or give them a bit of honey trap, to get them to do what they want through their special methods, protocols. This is it, and all the time, they've actually been manufacturing more and more and more crime, and now their solution is more and more surveillance, watching every single thing everyone does and recording every word. In fact, getting machines to listen to what you're doing and work out where people are going and what they're doing. Who wants to live in some kind of spider's web of computer predictable program? I mean, I don't think it can make life any better. It's kind of ridiculous. It's just insane. So, I don't really know about the oath that I've done. I don't know whether it's valid or not. But, I wouldn't take that Privy Council oath. It's stupid. It's a stupid oath. And at the end of the day, what the worst thing, the thing that I've learned most of all is actually, I'll put it up now actually, hold on a minute. I've just got a couple of notes here that I thought I'd put up. I put a blind man's bluff. I think that's it, blind man's bluff. I think the Privy Council oath has got to be blind man's bluff, although Lady Chief Justice is not a man. Maybe with these new laws over gender bending that they're trying to push through, maybe the Lady Chief Justice could be a man, could be blind man's bluff. Maybe she is a man. I don't know. You tell me. Blind man's bluff. That's got to be the Privy Council oath, hasn't it? I can't see. Charles has beaten someone over the head with a gold and silver mace. Oh, he's not doing anything wrong there. It's that blind man's bluff. This is it. If you take that oath, that has got to be blind man's bluff. Either you're retarded, you're stupid, or you've got some other handicap afterwards. It's got to be where they're saying blind man's bluff is coming from for sure. But those maces, those old charters, the way they say greetings, and then they're all like, they're softening everyone up in the city, like, oh, this is our liberty, this is our freedom, everything, the city's going to be amazing and great and good, right? But apparently through the administration of justice, right, we're going to have the sergeants at mace, and they will bear maces of gold and silver, right? So it's meant to be like the authority of the king, that they've got in Parliament with the gold mace, but this is meant to be the maces that all the sheriff and the constables bear. It's meant to be, this is meant to be the policeman's truncheon. So much for the police badge, the silver, the star, which I thought the star was meant to be for the knights, the Knights of the Garter. It turns out that, I don't really know whether the police symbol's meant to be a silver badge for protection, but I mean, you're meant to get protection from petitioning the king and the Bill of Rights. We don't seem to be getting it from the police, though. It's quite clear that the police's sergeant at mace is meant to be the king's mace, and it's meant to be enforcing the law with the authority of the king. So I don't know when they managed to ditch that mace symbol, but they've still got the truncheon. So they try and make out, a man with glasses. It's just a man with a badge. It's just a man with a shield. It's just a man with a shield. I'm just a detective. It's not like Sergeant at Mace running around whopping everyone with their maces of gold and silver. Oh, where did you get that gold and silver from? Oh, it's from the treasure trove. Anyone who finds any gold or silver or jewels in this city can keep it. And guess what? We've got a lot of other weird laws as well, like, Londoners are protected from countersuits out of the city, and they've got the exclusive jurisdiction of judges within the city, and if they're going about England, they don't have to pay any tolls around England, and there won't be any tolls in London. It sounds like the perfect setup for an adventurer going out into the country, finding gold, shoving it in a bag and coming back to London and then just pulling it out and going, oh, look, I just found some gold in my back garden. Oh, you can keep that, you can have it. who's this? Oh, it's just a couple of heirlooms, from a couple of, deceased ancient ancestors. Oh, we'll melt that down into a couple of maces, and give it to the sergeants, to keep everyone in line and order. Under whose authority? Well, not under their authority anymore, no, under the new authority, for the corporation, expand the corporation. No wonder they were saying, the streets of, that old, Dickens' cat or whatever, Dick Whittington's cat, I think the streets of London will be paved of gold when everyone from, people in London were going out nicking it from everywhere and getting the exclusive magistrate's jurisdiction if anyone challenged them, or, getting the toll money back and other privileges and protections, almost kind of like got this image of beefeaters going out around the country, bopping everyone, nicking all their stuff and going back to London and, blacksmithing some new arms and then coming back out at us again, raking it in. It seems to me that's what BlackRock and Vanguard are doing now, and YouTube and Facebook, just sucking up the wealth. Although all the cities have sucked it all up, and now what happened to them? Crime went through the roof. Pollution went through the roof. They claimed that the cities were going to be the liberty and, where the bad people in the countryside. Turns out now that apparently it's more peaceful and quiet in the countryside, and now living in the city is a nightmare. But yet we've got worse things now. There are these big entity corporations, YouTube and Facebook, looming the web, in castles in the sky, which are sucking up more wealth than anyone can imagine, but billions. And we don't even know who owns them all. We don't know who it is, but we can take a guess. Going by the current model and trend that has been following and unfolding, we could probably have one guess. It's not the Duchy of Cornwall. It's Boris Johnson. It's not Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson Limited. Oh, is that it? Not BlackRock, BlackRock Limited. AK also known as, with trillions at their disposal. Beyond leaders. Military style campaign, beyond leaders. From a private corporate sector. Charles, genius. Just Nick Clegg in on this and Tony Blair. I'll ask him, Tony, do you know anything about this BlackRock Vanguard thing? And Charles, oh no, I can't understand what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's interesting, Tony. Don't you? Blind man's bluff, Tony. Look at this. It's like the Blair Witch Project. Look, Tony's bluff. Blind man's bluff, Tony. Look, and here's Nick Clegg, another blind man. With a man with a pair of glasses on, hit a man with a pair of glasses on who's bluffing and blind. I'm not doing anything wrong here at Facebook. Aren't you, Nick? Really? That's interesting. I thought you and Mark was sucking up the wealth of the world through your left and right nostrils. And administering the new justice from beyond, the new justice powers from beyond the castles in the sky. Breaking all the laws of England, Public Meetings Act, 1688 Bill of Rights, you name it, they're breaking the law. Where are all my videos and evidence? It's illegal to seize and take someone's evidence. 38 Degrees seem to be doing a good job of it. This is it. London shall not be taxed. There shall be no tolls in London, no land or sea tax through tolls. Damn. Oh dear, we've promised them no tolls. Damn. How can we extort some money out of them then? Oh, we'll just, we'll charge them for stopping then. We're not going to charge you for moving around, but if you stop moving around, then we'll start fining you. And if you start parking, loitering or waiting, genius. Welcome to London, the city of liberty. No tolls for moving around here unless you stop and park, and then we'll start charging you. But, after you've all, forgotten that one's, it's always forgotten about that now, that, no tolls by sea or land, Oh, look, he's a promising fellow. It's Sadiq Khan, the new mayor of London. Oh, I'm going to put a toll on the Blackwall Tunnel. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, no, you're not. Why is that? Because it's illegal, Sadiq Khan. The ancient and old liberties of London must be retained. How did you get the congestion charge in there? Oh, because it's because you're not moving when you're congested. No, but it's no road tolls. It's a toll between points on the road. No, it's a toll for because you're going too slow. No, we might go too slow if we get congested, but how do we know? It's a road toll. It's illegal. Well, here's a new one. ULEZ. There's another point-to-point toll on the roads, and particularly directed at specific types of personal property, namely older motor vehicles. A property tax, also illegal. Let's get bopped by the sergeants at Mace. Juice. Look. Here's an unsuspecting character. Look, oh, it's a Jack. No, it's not. It's the sergeant at Mace. Oh, look. It looks like a Liberty Cap mushroom, but made out of gold. It could have melted it down out of someone's talk. Or God knows what. Ring money. There's the Liberty of London for you. Having a mace wrapped around the side of your head. Definitely some Liberty. Sergeant at Mace. Actually, it started to make me think, the whole word racket. Where does the word racket come from? Racket, something you hold in your hand to hit something with. When you get a load of men together who are running some kind of weird organised affair where they seem to be extorting something from someone, it's usually called an organised racket. Isn't that a bit like the Bow Street Runners and the magistrates' courts in London when they started the police, and then they burned down Parliament, and then they started recruiting more people into this racket, and then started saying, we'll have maces of gold and silver. It's liberty there. This is freedom. This is liberty. Interesting concept of liberty. Juice. 15 love. I love you. It's liberty. Now we're equal. Now we're even. Advantage, all the tennis scoring, the words look at them, they look like they're walking around with maces. Here almost looks like the Queen there with the scepter, doesn't it? This ancient tennis court thing. I started to realise, it's quite funny, the game of tennis, because you've got a server. It's like when you're serving, I will serve documents. I am going to serve you a document. We will write a petition and we will get a few people subscribed to it. Like a racket. And then we will, serve it to the king. There you go. And, all the way through my entire adventures, the entire adventure since 2013, when I actually was reading letters and sending them back and forwards, I was like going, this is like a tennis game, knocking letters backwards and forwards, But they're still doing it now. In fact, a lot of the people who are really trying still, I've given up trying really. A lot of people are still, you get a lot of these professional, like Big Brother Watch and Russell Brand and a lot of the major campaign groups and channels and even organisations who are kind of confronting the government, a lot of them are still saying, now we know we wrote to the MP or we complained to Parliament or whoever and we didn't get a reply or whatever. It's not even a game of tennis for some of them because some of them don't get reply, It really is kind of like, the thing is, in theory, the idea, the whole statute law behind the petition is that if you write it and get people to sign it, you've got the right. And if you serve the document, then really you can't you can't be prosecuted. You're meant to be protected, so you can't lose. I mean, you might not win. You might not win because Parliament might not do what you want them to do, right? But in theory, you can't at least be prosecuted, right? So you can't lose, but you might not be able to win. That's almost like a touche, isn't it, or a juice moment. So like Neil Oliver's love letters or whatever, I think to follow suit was almost supposed to be like, Valentine or Lancelot, isn't it? With the hearts, to follow suit, a suit to follow a suit was almost meaning to chase a lady or to chase a romance as well from the French. So the whole thing, love in tennis, there's something in behind, this tennis game and the racket and the whole kind of, maces of gold and silver, and the scoring system. You see, when they call it advantage, you've got to win by 2 points, haven't you? You do the scores up, and then eventually, I think they only really... I think it was the mid-1800s when that tennis game was made popular. Before then, it was knocking around, but it wasn't actually in the current form that we know it in today. It wasn't kind of modernised into the current proper form of tennis that it is. It was more of an obsolete or obscure game that they used to play at some of the monasteries in France and so forth. But the scoring of it is like you 1, 2, and 3 points. It's not the actual number that it is it? There's got to be some irony in that to the, to the Tumultuous Petition Act, when it's like over 20. But if you have one, you can just have one person and you need to get any consent or anything. It's almost like lying. Why have points that, you aren't actually, it's like... a number subscribed to it, send. It's almost like sending a number when it's only one person. It's almost like if when you serve and you hit it, it's almost like 1 point has got more like 15 attached to it rather than just one. There are definitely some things going on in the ideology behind that. And then until you both get up to the same score and then it's like advantage or whatever. Ironically, of all those Stop ULEZ petitions, and there's like 2 big ones, each has got 200,000 signed, and then there's that Dave Fowler's, which has got 1,000 and odd signed, and together there's over 400,000 signatures. I kept complaining about the fact that, Parliament weren't doing anything about it, yet they wanted us to vote in the London mayor election for the Tories who were going to turn off ULEZ, right? But yet, it's almost like, well, why won't Parliament just do it? So they actually made a bill and put it to Parliament, right? And then Labour voted against it. So I can actually confidently say that I actually did prompt them to actually do something about those 400,000 signatures. So we actually got an action in Parliament, even though it didn't actually win. So that is like a tennis serve, if there ever was one, actually getting them to lay the bill to end ULEZ, but Labour voted against it. Ironically, I'm now coming back against Labour, saying that their mayor of London, their team player, has committed a foul because, in fact, they can't put a toll on Blackwall Tunnel, which he claimed he was going to put a toll on it, because of Magna Carta 13. Unlucky for some, which is still in effect, which says that London can't have any land or road or sea tolls within the city of London, because it's illegal. And, they stripped most of those Magna Carta clauses in the mid-1800s, around the time Parliament burned down, and they formed the Met Police and they pulled the juries out of the courts. And they stripped a load of those Magna Carta clauses away, including the one where they can't take away your cart or horses transport. And also, it's a miracle they left that Liberty of London in place, actually. I'm quite surprised they still left that clause 13 and got 39 and 40, which are important legal principles, which they were out there in the Petition of Right anyway. that Magna Carta clause got put in the Petition of Right. So either or. So I'm quite surprised they saved that ancient liberties of London clause. But I think the idea was in the mid-1800s is that, well, they thought, well, what we'll just do is we'll charge them when they're not moving. If we can't charge them when they're moving through tolls, instead we'll charge them if they stop moving. That's what they did. They thought, we'll get the better of them. So they always soften people up. They always sweeten them up and say, it's the liberty of the city. Find any treasure, you can keep it. We'll have maces of gold and silver. Come sign up, It's always sweetening people up, but there is no liberty now. I mean, look at this nonsense in Scotland, that Yassaf guy or whatever in SNP. You can't even say what you want in your own house. Who are these jokers? Who are these jokers? We really are dealing with some joker deck guys here. And they're breaking the law. They've got no respect for law. It's just like North Yorkshire Police, what I started off with, we're doing our oath. It's kind of just like the whole point in doing the ceremony. But what's the point in saying it if you're not going to uphold it? Well, why don't you uphold the law then? We're using rights, It's kind of like they're just doing the motion, I don't think they know what they're saying and what they're doing half the time, kind of ridiculous, really. So, I'm not knocking people in London because they've been scammed and had as much as anyone else. And actually, I think what happened with the London is they expanded, when they formed the Metropolitan Police in the 1830s, what they did is they expanded, the liberty of London is meant to be only the city, but the Metropolitan Police was actually a larger area than the liberty of London. We went into Kent, Essex, Middlesex, Hertford, Kent, Essex, Middlesex, Hertford, Kent, Essex, Middlesex, Hertford, and Sussex, I think. So those areas will have had some tolls in them probably. So that's why it says in that Metropolitan Police Act, the early one, not the first one, I think the second one, it says that, police won't have to pay for tolls or get stopped on tolls if they've got a uniform. But I thought that if you're from London, the old and ancient liberties of London were that you didn't have to pay any tolls in England if you're from London. It's one of the liberties of people who are from London if you've got a birth certificate or passport. I don't know how they did that. With the Humber Bridge or the Severn Bridge or the Forth Road Bridge. There's a couple of other funny tolls as well. There's one in Lincolnshire that always was a nuisance. There aren't many. There's privately owned ones, but you're not meant to have to pay them if you're from London. I wonder if they forgot about that and never used it. I wonder if anyone did use it. But anyway, I'm calling them out on this now. I've called them out on quite a few things. So we'll see. We'll see who has the advantage. But at the moment, I think it's getting point. The whole thing is it's points, isn't it? So making a point. If you get 2 points ahead, so get yourself a shuttlecock out. I think with the Blackwall Tunnel is like the Death Star. It's like the Death Star destroyer, isn't it? I think that's getting. I think they've really outdone themselves now. I think the Blackwall Tunnel really is the. It's got to be the torpedo chute for the Death Star, hasn't it? I mean, it's got to go in there. I mean, why is the Blackwall Tunnel not a toll tunnel? They charge you. This is strange. In London, what don't they charge you for? They're trying to charge you for everything they can. I mean, stop here, stop there, park here, dodgy parking signs, dodgy parking tickets, dodgy road signs, stopping, waiting, loitering. Well, actually, you're not supposed to be charged a toll by land or sea. Oh, there's a Blackwall Tunnel. Well, you'd have thought they would have put one on, look at Dartford. Yes, but Dartford's not in the Liberty of London, is it? It's on the outskirts. You'd have thought all these scamsters, if they were going to charge you for anything, you'd have thought that they would have charged you for the Blackwall Tunnel, if they could have done. But it makes you wonder how they managed to get that congestion charge up in 2005, was it 2002? I think it was 2002. That's Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. Gordon Brown's 2005, isn't he, or 2005 to 10. But you're looking at, going towards the end of Tony Blair into Gordon Brown. I don't know why Labour would do that to working class people, but it makes you wonder why Sadiq Khan's doing it to working class people now. I don't know. You would have thought they would have known about it. I think they probably tried to think of it in their own minds that, congestion is like static, not moving. But it's a point-to-point toll from going from one place to another, no matter how fast or slow you go. I think they really outdid themselves then. And again, I think these people, like even Gordon Brown and Tony Blair, they think that they're, House of Commons, common people, standing up for the working man, for the citizen, for the country, for the nation, climbing up to high places, but doing some good for mankind, when they just end up taking these weird, odd oaths in these privy cults, and they can, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just going against the Magna Carta Clause 13. It's okay. It's not wrong. My name is, I'm Elizabeth, Queen of England. Gordon, you will put tolls on London for me. Yes, Your Majesty, but isn't that against the Magna Carta Clause 13? I'm here to represent the high-class working man from Scotland. No, there you will know no wrong. You will know no wrong and no right or wrong or right or wrong. You can know no bad or good. You know nothing, Gordon and Tony. Spin round 3 times and click your heels. There's nothing wrong here. There's nothing wrong here. The main glee of the royals that I have identified is their uttermost glee and pleasure in life is to get away with doing something that not only they aren't supposed to do or can't do or not allowed to do, but get away with doing it and nobody being able to stop them or even seeing it. The illusionist, there's nothing here, getting one up on you, even when it's written, but we can't break any law or any rule or nothing, fines, fees, the maces, sergeant at mace, behave yourselves. But they can't break no law. And this is what happens, I think, when you get supreme power and you start getting odd, weird oaths like that. But is there any point saying it, Is anyone going to be able to hear us, Can we even make a complaint about it to the king? But probably only the king can hear and no one else, not the Privy Council. 77th Battalion makes it disappear from the ether, This is a problem, there's no point, the Dark Riders, the Ring Wraiths, the Tony Blairs and the Nick Cleggs of the world, the Gordon Browns, the statesmen, what are left of these souls who have sold their soul to the dark magic of blindness, blind man's bluffness. It's blind man's bluff. Hey, I'm Sadiq Khan. I'm going to put a toll on the Blackwall Tunnel. Yes, but you can't because it's illegal. Well, I'm just a blind man bluffing, but I'm doing it anyway. This is it. And then you get people like Keir Starmer. I'm the leader of the Crown Prosecution Service of all England, the Director of Public Prosecutions. That's a responsible position. I wouldn't like to have that position with that responsibility. No, you've got to be a complete fool to do that and have balls of steel and be blind man's bluff. Otherwise, you'll be tripping over your shoelaces all the time with all mistakes that I've been making. Well, more the fool you. This is it. Max Hill, dragging people through the bushes when they're painting on walls, even though it's Class C mixed with Class F, even though in the Metropolitan Police Act, 1839 or whatever, it clearly groups defacement and damage to property within the same offence. So, if you've got a petition right and exempt from one, you're clearly exempt from the other. At least in 1839, there was no differentiation between defacement or damage. So, if you're exempt from it in 2007, which according to Max Hill you weren't, even though he wasn't aware of the act, but, what weird oaths had Max Hill been taking, I'm not sure what these people are running on, like this new Ken Skates guy. I don't know where they come from. I mean, is it kind of a little bit like Cub Scouts, but like Labour Scouts? These people aren't working class people. They haven't had jobs. They don't carry things. They don't work in factories. I don't know where Ken Skates and Keir Starmer come from. They come from some, I don't know if they come from through the Looking Glass, Coronation Street. I'm not sure, Are they brought up by beef eaters, in some weird, strange, back room of a cinema? I don't know where they come from. I think they must, be devout Coronation Street and EastEnders watchers who probably, were in a brass band and, who knows? But they've got, it's a weird cult. It's an odd cult. These people, they don't, they're meant to be these, the law. But why are you breaking the law all the time? No, I can break the law. Oh, I see. I get the game. I might try that as well. I can break the law, but you can't. I'm here to enforce the law. I've got a very responsible position. Why are you breaking it every day then? Well, because I'm allowed to, like a policeman, sergeant at mace. Oh, that's what I want to be. Someone who breaks the law for my career all the time.